October the 1st, 1949, Mao Zedong stood before the jubilant throngs in Peking to proclaim the founding of the People's Republic of China. 1/4 of humanity had risen like a mighty storm, like a whirlwind swooping down from the sky. The people in their millions broke the chains of the ruling class and ripped the jackboot of foreign imperialists off their necks. They had conquered the seemingly unconquerable foe. There were those who said it could never be done, that the imperialists and the domestic reactionaries were too strong. The peasantry too backward and the working class too small. But Mao Zedong had declared that the red flag of proletarian revolution would rouse the workers and the peasants, sword in hand, rolling back the enemy as we would a mat. The key, said Mao, was to arouse the masses. Arm them not only with guns, but with a political consciousness of the tremendous task before them, and of the bright future that the struggle would bring for mankind. The road was torturous, yet bitter sacrifice strengthens bold resolve. The Red Army, said Mao, fears not the trials of the long march. The enemy advances, we retreat. The enemy camps, we harass. The enemy tires, we attack. The enemy retreats, we pursue. Led by Mao's brilliant military line, the Red Army drove the Japanese imperialists out of China. The forces of the landlords, the comprador capitalists, and the Western imperialists were on their last legs. Our mighty army, 1 million strong, has crossed the great river, Mao rejoiced, with power and to spare. We must pursue the towering foe. And they were pursued until the remains of the slave master forces plunged into the sea, fleeing to an island province to escape the wrath of the masses. Oppression breeds resistance, but the great victory of the Chinese War of Liberation was not just a peasant uprising against the evil gentry. It was a revolutionary struggle for national liberation and a new type of democratic revolution. The main force was the peasantry, but the leading driving force was the working class and its political party. All his life, Mao opposed those who rested content with the destruction of the old feudal society and the driving out of imperialism, and those who did not see that the working class had to continue to advance the revolution to its final goal, communism. For this was the era of proletarian revolution. In 1871, 70 years before Mao led the Chinese people to win liberation, the proletariat of France seized power and established the Paris Commune. For a brief time, the working class ruled the city. With the struggle in Paris, wrote Karl Marx, the struggle of the working class against the capitalist class and its state has entered a new phase. Whatever the immediate outcome may be, a new point of departure of worldwide importance had been gained. The seeds planted with the Paris Commune flowered a generation later in the Russian Revolution. In October 1917, during World War I, the great proletarian laboring people of Russia erupted like a volcano. Society took a great stride into the future. For the first time in history, there was a country run by the rough hands and the collective wisdom of the working class. Mao said, "The salvos of the October Revolution brought us Marxism, Leninism. Guided by this science, the Chinese people had won their liberation. What a victory for the people struggling all over the world. Millions who had been slaves were now masters of society." But what did it mean for the working class to rule? Mao pointed out, to win countrywide victory is only the first step of a long march of 10,000 li. The Chinese Revolution is great, but the road after the revolution will be longer, the work greater and more arduous. The new society was stamped with the birthmarks of the old. It was not just a matter of developing a modern country out of enforced backwardness by imperialism and feudalism. Only by relying on the masses in their millions, only through fierce class struggle to dig out all the roots of the old society could China advance down this socialist road. But there were those who worshiped the big and the profitable, those who insisted on mimicking the foreign capitalists, those who would take China back down the road to capitalism in the name of modernization. Things came to a head. Mao Zedong led the Chinese people in the Great Leap Forward, a tremendous mass movement to promote development through self-reliance. Go all out, aim high, and achieve faster, better, and more economical results, said Mao. But he did not just say, achieve results in developing the economy or in industry. He said, in building socialism. Backyard steel smelting, impossible, impractical, shouted the crusty bureaucrats. People's communes, too soon, wailed the bourgeois Democrats. But millions went into battle. A nationwide high tide of socialist transformation swept across the country. was impossible to stop the struggle partway and rest. But right in the Communist Party itself, there were those who did not want to go forward. Here Mao saw a great danger to the revolution. This danger was made more sharp and real by the events in the Soviet Union. A band of traitors, led by Khrushchev, seized power, crushed the revolutionary forces, and began to change the masses with the restoration of capitalism.
Когда я ехал сюда, мне наметили маршрут, что я у вас посмотрю, с кем я встречусь.
And just imagine, I, a prime minister, a Soviet representative, when I came here to the city, I was given a plan, a program of what I was to be shown and whom I was to meet here.
А сейчас мне подошли и сказали, нет, вы, говорит, в такой-то городок поехать не можете. Как называется он? Да.
But just now, I was told that I couldn't go to Disneyland.
Khrushchev and his successor Brezhnev demagogically promised the Soviet people their own Disneyland and a consumer's heaven of goulash communism. Mao ruthlessly exposed these renegades and moved to alert the masses of Chinese people to the danger from capitalist rulers in China itself. You are making revolution, he would say, and yet don't know where the bourgeoisie is. It's right in the Communist Party. Those in power taking the capitalist road. 1966. Mao launched a momentous uprising against the high and mighty in authority who wanted to short-circuit the revolution. He called on the masses to bombard the bourgeois headquarters in the party. Marxism contains hundreds of truths, he said, but they all boil down to one. It is right to rebel against reactionaries. But those like Liu Shaoqi and Deng Xiaoping who chirped, "This is one hell of a mess. I want to slip and fly away. Where's the goulash?" Mao retorted, "Drop your wind and nonsense. Look, the world is being turned upside down." The great proletarian cultural revolution was an earth-shaking event that shattered convention on a massive scale, a breakthrough towards communist society. Never before in history had the masses participated more in political life. Millions joined the struggle over what road forward for China. Revolutionary committees replaced one-man management and the rule of experts in factories, schools, and the state apparatus. Under Mao's leadership, his wife Jiang Jing led the struggle to drive the bourgeoisie from the control of the cultural arena. If the Ministry of Culture refuses to change, charged Mao, it should be renamed the Ministry of Emperors, Kings, Generals, and Monsters, the Ministry of Talents and Beauties, or the Ministry of Foreign Mummies. Under Jiang Jing's leadership, the reactionary Mao was thrown from the stage. Workers, peasants, and soldiers took center stage, boldly daring to stand up, smack down their oppressors, move mountains, storm the heavens. The struggle reached a crucial turning point with the January storm. The working class led by Chung Chung Chao, Yao Wen-yuan, and Wang Hu-wen seized power in Shanghai, overthrowing the Old Municipal Party Committee. Mao quickly popularized this rebellion throughout the country. Proletarian revolutionaries, he called, unite and seize power from the handful of party persons taking the capitalist road. The power of the masses unleashed by Mao's line tore through the bourgeois headquarters of Liu Shaoqi and Lin Piao. But even at the height of the storm, Mao had no illusions that the reactionaries were wiped out, or that the danger of capitalist restoration would not persist. Continuing the dictatorship of the proletariat was essential until every trace of the old exploiting society had been stamped out. Even as Mao lay on his deathbed, the vultures led by Deng Xiaoping and Hua Rufeng and others prepared the revisionist coup in China, but nothing they do can destroy the legacy of Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, a great Marxist-Leninist, who stood firm in the swirl of the mass movement, strong in the face of desertion from the revolutionary ranks and attacks from reactionaries inside and outside the Communist Party. Mao Zedong, who continually mobilized the masses to advance the revolution on the socialist course, who constantly alerted the people to the danger of restoration, but declared, one day the red flag of proletarian revolution will fly not only in China, but in every country of the world. Mao Zedong, who dared to scale the heights, truly the greatest revolutionary of our time.